No matter what hour your clock strikes, here it's always Halloween. And I'm always your haunted host, Luce Tomlin Brenner. Welcome to Small Frights Friday. On these episodes, I like to curate a selection of calls from the All Hallows Hotline and letters from the EEEEK mailbag. If you would like to contribute a Halloween memory or question or idea or recommendation, you can do so by calling in to 802-532-DEAD or write to It's Always Halloween Podcast at gmail.com. Before we get into our contributions today, I just want to extend a warm but also chilling welcome to Ashley Chapman, who is a brand new Ghoul Gang member. That's right, she just signed up for the Patreon. Welcome, Ashley. So happy to have you. The Ghoul Gang contributes to 45% of the production costs of this podcast. It's almost half. That's incredible. Thank you so much to all of our Ghoul Gang members for helping get these episodes out. You are keeping It's Always Halloween ad-free, independent, and sustainable. So I don't have to sell out to a huge company like Spanx or Thinx, or I could only think of very feminine underwear companies at the moment. So luckily, there's no Halloween underwear out there that really represents us. So don't force me to choose between Patreon and Thinx, because I want that Thinx money. All right, guys, before we get started today, I want to announce our halfway to Halloween giveaway winners. This is the giveaway review that we started in April. We had over 50 reviews. Thank you so much for showing up, telling everybody what you love about It's Always Halloween, pushing us up to the very top so that when people search Halloween podcasts on Apple, they see ours first. Before all the big names, before all the iHeartRadios, and I feel fine about radio and I hate radio. We're before all of those major companies. Y'all, we did it with sheer heart, with sheer Frights. Thank you so much. So our first prize winner is Ellie Arm. Ellie Arm claimed her grand prize and has received it, and that is done. However, our second prize winner, Clown Can't Talk. I have not heard from you yet. Reach out to me, Clown Can't Talk. You won second place. Our third place winner, HBS927. A great collection of consonants and numbers. I have yet to hear from you. You won third place. Y'all have to get back to me within the week. Claim your prize. If you don't claim your prize by next week, I'm going to redraw. So that second and third prize, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I hope to get it to the winners. But if they don't come forward, I got to draw some new names. So I have not dumped out my lantern filled with names yet. We might redraw next week. Stay tuned. Reach out to me if your handle is Clown Can't Talk or HBS 927. And thank you for your reviews and your kind words and for loving the podcast and taking just a minute, maybe 3 minutes, to write a few thoughtful sentences to recommend us to other people. If you haven't written a review yet, I encourage you to do so. You may not win something now, but you know what? Let me back that up. You will win something. My love. And that's priceless. All right, guys, let's get into our letters and our calls. We are going to kick things off with a really terrific EEEEKmail first. The subject line of this one is first time EEEEKmailer. Listen, EEEKmailer is spelled with 4 E's. Just so you know, this is not a judgment. It's just in case you were like, eek, how many E's is she saying? I am saying 4 E's. Listen, my phone has memorized that, so I think you can too. No, you're doing great. Very excited for the first time EEEKmailer. All right. Dear Luce, first off, I don't expect this long email to be read on the air. There's too much info. Look at me subverting your expectations already, writer. Actually, it is a lot of info. So what I'm going to do is break it up. You're going to get some hot info now, and then I'm going to leave you wanting more. That way you'll tune in next week. All right, the writer goes on to say, I am a huge fan of Happy Halloween, and I am now a huge fan of your podcast. Oh, well, thank you so much. I discovered it in the middle of March, and I have finally caught up on all of the episodes. Wow, that was only a month ago. Thank you. That's really impressive. I wanted to wait and send you an email until I heard them all. I'm from the Midwest. I'm 41 years old. I grew up on the border of Detroit and then moved out to the metro Detroit suburbs. That's fascinating, writer. Listen to this. I grew up on the outskirts of Cleveland. I went to school in Bowling Green, Ohio. And then I went to Detroit very much, probably once a month, for punk shows. So I love Detroit. I've spent a lot of time there, and I'm with you. So I just wanted you to know so far how I'm feeling, which is great. I attended and received degrees from 2 MAC schools, just like your Bowling Green Falcons. Ugh, you're going to mention the Falcons? Amazing. Unfalcon believable, as we like to say. I went to Western Michigan University and Central Michigan University. Perhaps college Halloween is or is not a topic. All in itself for the podcast. You gave me both options. I love it. College Halloween is certainly something. I threw Halloween parties every year in college, and I don't think that they were the exact same type of Halloween parties that other people were having, but they were very, very fun and messy and silly, and people wore ugly, scary, funny costumes, and no one was allowed to be sexy. I don't like sexy costumes at my Halloween party, only because I think all my friends are sexy. I don't need you to wear a specific costume. You're innately sexy, especially if you come as a horrific swamp monster. Strut that swampy slime, girl. Okay, back to the EEEKmail. I now live with my wife in Marquette, Michigan, right near Lake Superior. I give summer tours of our very haunted Marquette Harbor Lighthouse as my second job. Wow, that's a cool job. I'm very impressed. I also got married to my wonderful wife at her parents' farm in Northwest Wisconsin in 2012. Congratulations. Our wedding was an outdoor-indoor type of reception. Since it was September 29th, we had our guests carve pumpkins at the rehearsal dinner the night before the wedding, and we had jack-o'-lanterns of all types all over the reception hall on the wedding day. Wow, that is so romantic and sweet and fun and community-oriented, and I love that your decor was generated by all of your friends and family, and it was so improvisational. And I love that, like, maybe some of them were a little not great, because you didn't have like an artiste flown in from Massachusetts or some jack-o'-lantern carving capital of the world. You just, so things look regular. They look cute and they look sweet, but they're not like, oh, I'm in a magazine wedding, which, like, hey, if you're out there having a magazine wedding, I am extremely excited for you. They look beautiful. Those pictures, my God. But I also think it's really nice to have things look like they've been touched by regular people that you know, because there's a little bit of authenticity, a little bit of humanity, a little bit of regular day-to-dayness. Not that your wedding shouldn't be extra super duper special and like slightly heightened and fantastical in its own ways, but I think that it's nice to have the reminders of everybody around you in the decor, not just, seeing them there, of course, but I think it's fun to have like my sister made pies and my aunt's the photographer. We all work together to have this event. It's sweet. All this to say I'm psyched on this idea. I also want to share my favorite costumes I had as a kid. My mom always did a great job trying to make us costumes by hand. The only plastic one I ever had was Beast Man from He-Man when I was in kindergarten. I think my favorite costume my mom made me as a kid was Link from Legend of Zelda, or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. In college, I had to wear my full-body store-bought Scooby-Doo costume. I mean, what girls don't like dancing with Scooby-Doo at the college club? So you were dressed as a dog? So you were essentially, you said Scooby-Doo, but I immediately pictured Shaggy, but you mean you were dressed as the dog Scooby-Doo, the Great Dane. Did you have the little collar, the diamond collar that had the SB, and did you have Scooby snacks? Because the best way to hit on another person when you're dressed as Scooby-Doo is to ask them for Scooby snacks, right? I feel like there's a lot of euphemisms in there. As an adult, I married an amazingly talented wife. We get it. You're happy with your wife. No, just kidding. She isn't as into Halloween as I am, but embraces it fully. She has made me some really great costumes over the years, such as Jovi and Buddy the Elf, Lilo and Stitch, and Peter Pan and Wendy. Side note, my siblings and I also had those plastic buckets that were tall and said treat in the jack-o'-lantern's mouth. I also have a book recommendation. I just finished this about a month ago. It's called Pumpkinheads, and it's by Rainbow Rowell, or Rowell? Unsure. It's a super cute graphic novel about two best friends working at an amazing pumpkin patch. It's so cute and very modern. I would love for other lanterns to read this. Look, I'm on board. I have been working diligently on creating a complete list of every book, every movie, every podcast, song, every recommendation we have gotten so that I can put it out there for you guys so that we have a regular list to look at. So I will put Pumpkinheads in our show notes, and I promise you a book list and other recommendations are coming soon. Thank you for all you do. Keep up the good work, and I hope you enjoyed this email. I promise I won't send another email this long again. Steve, this was perfect. I edited it down, but not because the info wasn't absolutely spine-tinglingly lovely. It was, but I'm going to save some of it for a future Small Frights episode. I am excited to share that Steve sent some really great pictures of Halloween costumes and also the wedding with these really cute hand-carved pumpkins from their guests. Again, I just have to say, I love this idea and I love that they were down. I really have terrific friends, but there's a part of me that thinks if I asked them to do a project, they'd be like, nah. We're not really a project group of people. We're more of like a have a beer and sit around the fire talking about big ideas kind of people. But I love the idea of making everybody carve jack-o'-lanterns. That's the best part of a wedding. It's the sheer power that you get over everyone. It's my special day. I would like you to carve 600 jack-o'-lanterns as decorations. And they have to do it. They have to do it or they're telling you that they don't respect you or your love. They're spitting in the face of romance. All right, thank you, Steve. This was a perfect EEEEKmail. Do not second guess yourself. Do not apologize for the length of an EEEEKmail that is bursting at the seams with Halloween goodness. I need to take a moment to acknowledge how many lanterns write in, call in, and apologize. Listen, none of you are doing anything wrong. You're doing exactly what I ask. Every week I say, share something, recommend something, I want to hear about something. And you do that, and then you say, I'm sorry. I wrote you this thing, and I'm sorry. Don't apologize. You are perfect. No one has sent me anything abusive or like scary in a bad way or like even unhinged. And I thank you for that. I'm not asking for that. I like that you're all fairly hinged. I appreciate that in you. So that's just to say, you don't need to apologize. But thank you for being concerned. Thank you for wanting to respect my time and my inbox. But you're all doing great. And I appreciate you so much. And I want you to feel confident when you're reaching out. All right, that was my little pep talk. Let's take a hotline call.
Hi, Luce. It's Brandy from Haunted Librarian. And I finally caught up with all the episodes from the podcast, and so I thought it was finally time to call in to the All Hallows Hotline. So tonight I want to make some recommendations to our listeners. First, I finally got a chance to read my best friend's exorcism, which I had heard about on the podcast, and I know it's one of your favorite novels, if not your favorite novel, and I can totally understand why, because it combines 80s and horror together so perfectly, and I loved every bit of it, and I automatically put it into my sister's hands so she could read it next. So that was a really great recommendation, and I'm so glad that you talked about it on the podcast. I also have another book that I picked up actually right after I finished my best friend's exorcism, and this is actually a collection of short stories. It is from an up-and-coming author. Her name is Brianna Morgan, and the book is called The Trick-or-Treater and Other Stories. And trick-or-treater is spelled Tricker-Treater. And it's a collection, like I said, of short stories, kind of in the same vein as Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Some are longer than others, some are kind of short, but it's a really good set of stories. It's a quick read, and I think our Luceo Lanterns will really enjoy it. It's on Amazon for like $5 for a paperback copy, and I think it's also available as an ebook as well. So you guys should go check that out. It was a really good short read. The other thing I want to recommend is actually something that I just got finished watching on TV a few minutes ago. And I'm a really big Outlander fan, and I watch Men in Kilts, which is a new show that Starz has recently started airing. And it has Sam Heron and Graham McTavish, who are from the show Outlander, and they're taking trips around Scotland and exploring different cultural aspects of Scotland. And tonight's episode that I watched, episode 4, was about the supernatural and the witches and those kinds of myths and legends that are part of Scotland's very rich history. And as someone who has a lot of Celtic ancestry, I am just like always glued to anything that has to do with Scotland, and particularly Scottish ancient history and mythology. So anyways, in tonight's episode, they were focusing on the supernatural and the witches and stuff like that. And I know that your future chapter coming up on the podcast is about witches. And so I thought that maybe some of our listeners would also like to check out this episode. The first thing they did was go to a really spooky cemetery in Scotland. And then they went and talked to this witch expert from Scotland, and he showed them like all this weird torture tools and devices that they used to use on people who were accused as witches before they burned them at the stake. Then they went and looked at the standing stones, and they also went to a Beltane festival, which is kind of like the opposite of Samhain. Anyways, so it was really cool, and it might just get people hyped up for the witches episodes that you're going to be doing. So that was all my recommendations. I love the podcast so much. I'm so glad I found it. As a librarian, I have a lot of respect for the care and effort that you put into your episodes. And I really love the Small Frights Friday episodes. It adds this really cool personal touch and connects you with your listeners, and I just love it. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to future episodes. And by the way, this is Brandy again from Haunted Librarian. All right, bye.
Brandy from the Haunted Librarian. Brandy, the Haunted Librarian. I'm so happy to hear from you. I enjoy your blog and your Instagram, and I'm so happy that you read my best friend's exorcism on my advice. That makes me so happy. It is definitely my favorite contemporary horror novel. I recommend all of Grady Hendrix's books. I think he is an incredible writer. I love all of his books. I think my best friend's Exorcism is just like the peak, the pinnacle. Absolutely so scary, so disturbing, and so like heartwarming. Like, I don't know what Grady Hendrix sacrificed to be able to voice teenage girls so accurately, but it made me extremely skeptical of him until I read his other books, and he always writes from a female perspective, which, hey, if you can do it, awesome. I love that. I don't think only women can write about women. I think that gender is a spectrum. Everybody's a little bit of everything. So I love when men write good women. It's just that doesn't happen very often, which I think is why I've latched on to this, because I think he writes women so well with such complexity, such like really cool aspects to their lives and their hobbies and their interests, but then they're so flawed, making such bad decisions. Also, they just feel like whole, full people. It's not just like the strong female lead. I'm so tough. I'm so strong. I'm really good with a samurai sword. That's fun. I love that. I love an Amazon. But I also love when it's just a woman who's having a hard time getting out of bed, because, hey, that woman is me. So I recommend my best friend's Exorcism. I love the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which was his most recent one. We Sold Our Souls is great. Horror Store is great. I don't have a bad word to say about Grady Hendrix. I am linking you to his books in the show notes. And hey, one more thing. While I'm thinking about it, he wrote one of my favorite horror comedies to come out in the last 10 years, Satanic Panic, directed by Chelsea Stardust, an incredible woman in horror. It was produced by Fangoria. It's on Shudder. If you have not watched Satanic Panic, I love it. That's 100% my style. If you're like, what is really inside of Luce? Satanic Panic. That's it. That's what's inside of me. Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell and lots of blood and class warfare. That's what's inside of me. All right, Brandy, what a cool message. You had so many great recommendations. The Trick-or-Treater sounds like a cool book. I just looked it up. It has very inspiring cover art. It took me right back to 1993, reading Fear Street on my backyard patio furniture. Very 80s feeling without being pandering, without being like, oh, nostalgia. I like to be taken back, but I don't like to be sold to. I want to know that the person taking me back there is doing it because they love it too, not just because it's I'm an easy mark. You guys know what I mean? It's that authenticity we've been talking about. Listen, I have not watched Outlander. Should I be watching Outlander? I know so many people love it. I just looked a little more into it because of your call. I love Scotland. I love time travel. Maybe I should be watching it. I'm definitely going to watch Men in Kilts because I watched the trailer for that, and these two guys look delightful. So for those of you who don't know, it's actors Sam Haugen and Graham McTavish. What a cool name. And they're the two stars of the popular time travel drama Outlander. So originally, Men in Kilts was planned to be a podcast series about the history, culture, and landscape of Scotland. And the original name is going to be Clan Lands, which I think is really fun from a Scottish perspective. But I don't know if it really would have had the same flavor here in America, because our Clan Lands, yikes. I think we're discovering those are everywhere. So very happy with Men in Kilts. Much more playful, no concerning crossovers. So I don't have Stars. This show is on Stars, but I did discover that you could get a 7-day trial to Stars for free. And then after that, it's $9 a month. But there's only 8 or 9 episodes. So I think you could watch the whole first season of Men in Kilts with your 7-day free trial. Think about it. This is not an ad. This is just me trying to be thrifty. And I'm really excited to watch this episode because the trailer was really fun. So I'll have the trailer in the show notes for you guys to check out. You can decide if this is something that you also want to try to game the system. And then one last thing that I thought was really funny is I Googled men in kilts and I got an exterior house cleaning company. So this might happen to you if you Google it also, but evidently in America, there is a like power washing company and like gutter cleaning and siding hosing. Basically anything you need to do to like clean up the exterior of your house. This is the company, Men in Kilts, and men and women, maybe all genders, come to your house in kilts to clean it up. And the tagline is, everything's better in a kilt. This is really something. So you guys should just check that out. If you're looking to have any power washing done on your home, this seems really fun. And they're in like many of the states in America, which is so interesting to me. I feel like I'm a pretty worldly person. I've never heard of this. I've never seen these people before. Isn't it fun to discover something weird, something new, something bizarre, something very kilty? All right, well, listen, I want everybody to follow Haunted Librarian on Instagram. She's a really good follow. It's at hauntedlibrarian_. And check out her blog. It's hauntedlibrarian.com. She recently put up a post called My Fave Spooky Ambiance. And she listed this amazing, like all of these YouTube videos with music that she likes to work to. And I'm especially excited about this one called It Came From the 80s, Volume 6, a retro dark wave horror synth special. And it's like an hour long. And she said that she likes to like put this on and she feels like she's enveloped immediately in the sounds of 1980s horror. That is my favorite soundtrack to work to. When I'm writing, that I'm always looking for something synthy. I actually really like the It Follows score. I often look that up and I write to that, but it gets kind of intense. And there's been a couple times where I've been like I get a little scared even though I'm listening to something I have listened to before. It's like a little too ambient. Like it's a little too like, I'm like, am I in the horror movie? Because I'm working in a closet, right? The closet, the place where all the scary thing happens. So it can be kind of disturbing. I'm jumpy. I'm a little sensitive. Okay, Brandy, thank you for putting this list together. Thank you for calling in. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the podcast. What an incredible vote of confidence to have a librarian on my side. Librarians are some of the smartest people in the world. So that means so much to me, Brandy. Thank you for calling, and I look forward to hearing from you again sometime. All right, let's jump into another EEEEKmail. Hey girl, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the podcast. I found it a month ago and I'm completely caught up. I have anxiety and depression and have currently been in such a major third wave lockdown, and your podcast has been such a huge comfort to me. Halloween is absolutely my happy place. I have a daughter that I named Autumn Luna, so the commitment is real. My friends and I all had kids around the same time, so we do a baby Halloween every year too. Thanks so much, Cassandra. Oh my goodness, baby Halloween is adorable. Cassandra sent me some pictures, and picture a full couch of babies in costumes. It's like a sectional covered in babies in little fuzzy teddy bear costumes and little shiny Spider-Man costumes, and someone's a Bo Peep and someone's a superhero. It's just really something. So I'll share that picture on the Instagram. She also shared a really cute picture of her dressed up as Lydia and her sweet little Autumn Luna dressed up as Beetlejuice, which I love the height difference. And I think it's so generous to give your child the best role, to be like, I'll be Lydia, you be Beetlejuice, you be the big personality, which makes a lot of sense because I feel like babies kind of have like a it's showtime kind of vibe to them. So terrific. These are great pictures. You guys are going to love them. Cassandra, I'm so happy you found us. And Listen, I have been in the throes of clinical depression before. I have taken medication for depression before. I'm so happy that we could be a part of you feeling comforted and happy and taking care of yourself. I just want everybody out there to know that, like, this is a terrible time. This is a terrible time, she says, and then collapses into laughter. This is not a good time. The pandemic is bad. The way it's been handled has been bad. Things are getting better. The vaccinations is exciting, but there's a lot of people outside of America who don't have access to vaccinations. There's a lot of people in rural areas in America that don't have access to vaccinations still. So it's still a really rough time. And so if you feel depressed, that is normal. It sucks. It's not ideal. And I understand why you'd be like, this is not okay. I want to feel good. But in a way, it's okay because it makes sense given the world that we are currently living in. To not be depressed is actually like a little zany. So if you're being hard on yourself at all in this moment, or maybe a couple moments before, or maybe in a future moment, just be like, oh yeah, things are rough. It's been a global pandemic. I'm not crazy. The world is crazy. You're having a total natural reaction to a totally unnatural time. And what helps me a lot is talking about Halloween, looking at Halloween pictures, doing Halloween research. So that's why I started the podcast. And so it means so much to me to hear that it's helping people out there in Halloween land also, because I just want us all to get through and keep greeting the sun another day, because you all have some interesting gift. You all have something unique to say and some fascinating thing you're putting out into the world. So we need you. Keep going. Thank you so much for reaching out, Cassandra. I'm happy you discovered us. And listen, there is a lot of fun still to be had. So keep it on. All right. I want to get into a little follow-up I have. So this is an update from our February 26th Haunted Pie Shop episode. And I hope that you guys remember Pat, who wrote in with one of the funniest stories I've ever heard about getting trapped as a child in a little homemade haunt and accidentally getting himself outside of the haunt and running around in a dark house, lost, confused, crying in a Ninja Turtle costume, a little boy just like freaking out in a Ninja Turtle costume. I don't know. The image of it is just so funny to me. It's cinematic. So Pat wrote me back because I was like, Pat, pictures. Like, I want to see a little Ninja Turtle so badly. And he said that there are no photos that exist, but luckily he can describe it. And I want to share just because I'm obsessed with the creativity and homemadeness of it. So he said it was a homemade costume. He was wearing a green sweater and green sweatpants with a large plastic kitchen bowl on my back for a shell, painted my face green, and I had an orange cloth for a face mask. Oh my gosh. Like, I keep getting stuck on the large plastic kitchen bowl for a shell. It's just so ingenious. And I can just see like the parent who's like, what's a shell? What's a shell? What's a shell? Okay, this looks like a shell. And like pulling something off the shelf like that. Like, it's so great to make something yourself. You know, I've talked about this before, but the popularity of cosplay makes me feel really anxious and makes costumes for me a little less fun, because we have such a dedication in general to accuracy. And like, I went out and I bought the exact thing. Like, right? So many places manufacture costumes for popular characters now. So it's like, this is the exact thing that Carmen Sandiego wore. And so if you're like, I want to be Carmen Sandiego, but all I have is this red robe and this like plastic kitchen bowl that's purple, and I think I can make this look like a Carmen Sandiego costume. You're going to go to a party and some other chick's going to show up. Like, I spent $300 and I have an authentic red trench coat and an authentic felt fedora. And then you're going to be like, oh no, I'm wearing a kitchen bowl. Like, that sucks. That's like I hate that feeling. I hate that like I got to compete with somebody with money just for like a Halloween costume. It's taken a lot of fun out of costumes for me as an adult. Maybe this is an LA thing also. LA has warped my mind a little bit. So let me know. Maybe I'm just around too many. I'm in the industry. So like there's costumers around, there's people who are like making their living, making things for film. So let me know if I'm totally out of my gourd or not. I'd be happy to hear that I am. So thank you for sharing that update with me, Pat. I love it. I want to see and hear about all of your handmade costumes. But hey, I also love those plastic Ben Cooper masks and smocks as well. So don't hesitate. Please send in your childhood costume stories and pictures. It just warms my heart to see them. Which brings me to my next topic, which is I want to see if you have ever been a witch. Do you have pictures of you as a witch at any point? Please send them in. I'm really excited to announce that I'm going to be partnering with Neon Altar, the modern metaphysical marketplace. You can follow them at Neon Altar on Instagram, and their website is neonaltar.store. Together, we will be exploring modern witchcraft's impact and connection to Halloween. So we want to get you involved in this project. So send us your pictures, all dressed up as witches, and we'll give you more information soon. Send that to It's Always Halloween Podcast at gmail.com. Any of your memories, questions, ideas, recommendations, recipes, send us an EEEKmail. We want to hear about it. Or call into the All Hallows Hotline at 802-532-DEAD. I guess I put the 32. I put the Tootsie Pop in there. You like that? All right, you guys. This has been another episode of Small Frights. If you love It's Always Halloween, make like our newest Ghoul Gang member, Ashley Chapman, and please subscribe at patreon.com/itsalwayshalloween or leave us a one-time donation in the tip jar. Both are linked in the show notes along with our Redbubble store and our Instagram. This episode of It's Always Halloween was written and performed by me, Luce Tomlin Brenner, with help from our incredible Luceo Lanterns, Brandy, Steve, Cassandra, Pat, and more. Thank you so much for contributing. The editing, theme music, and sound design is by Pete Burns. Thank you so much, Pete. Make sure you check out Pete's new single on Spotify. You can follow Pete and see all the updates to his music that he's making at Mittenberries. You can follow me at LTB Comedy. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of It's Always Halloween. And come back next time, unless you're too busy trying to carve 800 new jack-o'-lanterns for your sister-in-law's wedding. Gosh, she's demanding.